With an injury update on Kenny Omega and a Hall of Famer having one more match left in him, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for November 17th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Following the match between FTR and the Lucha Bros, Jim Cornette took to his podcast to suggest AEW is undermining FTR. The finish of that match I actually wrote down as, "Is this sabotaged? They are being sabotaged. There is no way. Whether you like the Lucha Brothers or not, if you like the Lucha Brothers, you will like this match. However, if you do not, which I have seen FTR against as much as any luchadors that I want to see, it is a complete opposite style from theirs. It is definitely not doing them any favors whatsoever. But the finish of that match was ludicrous, and whoever called for it, or was there a walkthrough where somebody could see how rotten this was going to turn out in advance and made them do it anyway? I just do not have an answer for that. Apparently Dax Harwood was knocked out during the bout, which led to plans for the match changing. According to Fightful, Rey Fenix has been known to work stiff in the past, and some talent on the roster took issue with him not checking up on Harwood after the match. We're told this wasn't considered major heat, but the talent we spoke to said it was common courtesy to check in. The Rock and Rager at Sea cruise is an interesting concept, but it might not have worked out financially. Chris Jericho took to his podcast to reveal how much he lost on that first cruise. Huge success from a critic's standpoint, huge failure from a financial standpoint. I lost a lot of money, 6 figures, but you're building your business, right? Anytime you build something, you have to be prepared to spend money to make money. That's what we did. I lost a lot of money, and we put hours and hours of work into it, and I did something I said I would never do, which is become a promoter. I'm in charge of booking all the talent and paying the talent, especially the first cruise. I paid all the talent. It's not easy because everyone wants to get a great payoff, and I also want everyone to get a great payoff, but I'm also going over what my budget is. The second cruise, the financial deal was reconfigured to where I recouped my loss and made money on top of that. With another cruise in the works, Jericho has a 4th one set for March 14th. When it comes to AEW signing Jay Lethal, a couple of wrestling minds are pretty excited about this, as Booker T had this to say on his Hall of Fame podcast. I've gotten a chance to work with Jay Lethal in TNA, and he's always been a guy that I must say loves this business more than anybody I've ever seen. Jay Lethal loves this business. He loved working for that company, but when the doors closed, they sent him a letter saying his contract is void. It's like any athlete, man. You've got to look for work, and you've got to do it quick, because those notes that come in the mailbox, they're called bills. Even an AEW critic and Jim Cornette had this to say about the signing on his podcast. So now it is AEW again, as people go over the pay-per-view and buy the Jay Lethal. By the way, we really have to congratulate Tony Khan. You did something right for once. No, I do not need to congratulate Jay Lethal. He deserves it. Actually, he deserves better, but I congratulate Tony for figuring out that Jay Lethal was available and he could sign him up. He has been around for 4 years. Jay Lethal has been an untapped resource. He has been in other promotions, has been happy and contractually committed there. Despite that, I have always thought that he deserved a top spot where the most people could see what he can do while he still can so. Lethal is now set to face Sammy Guevara for the TNT title on Dynamite. Given all the changes that have come to NXT 2.0, it's not surprising that there are reports of the show getting bumped up to a TV 14 rating. Now it's been said by Beth Phoenix on Busted Open Radio that the commentators are told to be themselves. We're freshening up of the brand more than anything and focusing on, instead of NXT being branded as the yellow brand and the little engine that could, we're now looking to produce stars. That's our entire directive and our entire motivation. The matches that you see are not only just reps for these stars. stars, but also for everybody to push the envelope a little bit. I love that we're uncuffing a lot of the talent and giving them the opportunity to just try some stuff. Let us reel you back in instead of us telling you, come on, you have to light it up. Go out there and try different things. It's the same thing for us as commentators. We're being encouraged right now to be ourselves more, show more personality, and don't be so married to the agenda and walking the straight line. It's like, let's just have fun out there, and if we mess up, we mess up. We're human. We don't want to be perceived as robots. We want to bring personality and a big part of ourselves to the show. On his podcast, WWE Hall of Famer Ric Flair touched on his hope of returning to wrestling, with him noting that he has at least one more match left in him. Most assuredly, in a lot of conversation, that talk hasn't happened, but could I do it? Absolutely. I'm in better shape now than I was when Sting and I wrestled the last match on Nitro. WWE won't let me do anything, even though I'm released. I understand. They have so much liability, and I told them I would sign anything, but nobody wants me to die on their watch. I'd rather die in the ring. If I have to go, I'd rather not jump off the 19th floor or spend another 31 days in the ICU. While Flair was released from many sponsorship deals thanks to the plane ride from hell controversy, he could end up in a promotion at some point to put on one last match. Ahead of her Survivor Series match against Charlotte, Becky Lynch sat down with Vibe in Wrestling talking about her career. She mentioned that she thought when she was on NXT that she'd be fired. I gave up for 7 years, so I thought that part of the journey was over. I thought it was dead. To have overcome that and then constantly been on the chopping block in NXT, I was convinced every week that I was going to get fired. To overcome that and then to make it to the main roster and be told that I'm the most irrelevant girl in the division, then to overcome that and to eventually main event WrestleMania and to continue on, then go away and have a kid, and then come back and still be on top. So there's been a lot of hurdles. It hasn't been a straight shot at all. I feel very grateful from where I came from to where I am now. I never lose sight of that. Following her pay-per-view bout, it looks like Becky is set to feud with Liv Morgan on Raw. Despite having to retire due to injury, Edge was able to make a comeback during the 2020 Royal Rumble. While he was gone for 9 years, it looks like the rated R superstar has not missed a step. Now, there were rumors prior to his WWE return that Edge could sign with AEW. Talking about this on his podcast, Jim Ross noted that Edge made the right choice, signing with WWE over AEW. He has got a brand established in WWE, which is simply a home for him. He is comfortable there. He has a really open, established communication with Vince, which really matters. Would I have loved to have had him in AEW? Hell yeah. Are you kidding? Absolutely. But I just think that WWE for him, after all these years, was home. He is a lifer in WWE. Would I like to see Adam Copeland have a match in AEW someday? Most definitely. But will it happen? Unlikely. Highly unlikely, perhaps. But that would have been kind of cool if he had come and worked for us. Regardless, I understand why he did, and I think he made the right decision. Zelina Vega ended up being released from WWE last year, which had to do with the company's banning of third-party deals that could have prevented her from streaming on Twitch. Before making her comeback, there were reports that she was at the Performance Center. On the Out of Character podcast, Vega touched on this, saying she did not appreciate her return being spoiled. What made it funny was at that time when it came out, I wasn't really back yet. It wasn't really a thing yet. And I know that they were filming something for my husband, so that's what I was initially there for. It made it funny because I was like, this isn't even 100% yet. Y'all are talking like it is, but then you don't know the specifics. But I can't tell you the specifics, so just shut up, just stop. When it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's meant to be, why take that away from the fans? Those are my biggest issues with stuff like this. It's like, why ruin it and take moments away from the fans that are genuinely going to have a really cool moment instead of, I read on the internet that she was coming back anyway, so whatever, it's not even a big deal. Yeah, I know it's not a huge deal when you already know about it. After becoming the first Queen of the Ring in WWE, it'll be interesting to see where Vega goes from here as she leans into this new persona. During the Monday Night Wars, WCW was able to best WWE for 83 weeks in a row before losing in ratings and eventually being bought out. Speaking about this, Eric Bischoff mentioned that he forced Vince McMahon to innovate and change for the better. Revisionist history, BS, dirt sheet narrative, biased coverage, all kinds of reasons, but it really doesn't matter. It used to bug me a little bit, but I'm over it. It's just another example of the things that WCW did first and did better that eventually WWE had to follow our pattern. Somebody asked me very recently, what am I most proud of in regards to my career? That's a hard question, but at the core of it, I would say it's because I forced WWE and Vince McMahon to change the way they did business. Anybody that knows Vince McMahon or worked for Vince knows that's not an easy thing to accomplish. Not only did I get McMahon to sell and to react when everybody told me for so long Vince will never sell anything, Vince will never acknowledge the competition, it's not the way Vince McMahon does business. Well, it wasn't the way McMahon did business until I forced him to change, and I'm proud of that because it made WWE a better place, a stronger company, a more successful product, and the audience benefited as a result. That's why you saw McMahon become the evil boss that I had done a year sooner. That's why you saw DX in the Attitude Era. That was nothing more than a derivative of the NWO. Forced him to go live every week. All of those things were things that I did, and I was almost solely, in many respects, responsible for. It's not because on a personal level I was proud that I forced McMahon to react to me. I'm proud because I forced him to react to me and it improved the industry. That's what I'm proud of. It made it a better product. It made wrestling during the Monday Night War era probably still today the most talked about thing in the wrestling industry on an ongoing basis. All of that was because Nitro changed the industry and forced WWE to change their approach. The industry is a better place as a result of it, and I'm very proud of that. With him losing the AEW World title to Hangman Page at Full Gear, it was noted that Kenny Omega did not come into that match at his best. He was said to be having shoulder issues and was suffering from vertigo according to Meltzer. Now in an update from PW Insider, it's been noted that Omega could be taking time off for an extended period, as he will likely need surgery on his shoulder. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.